I'm slightly a bit of an opposite approach. Since my sport is so dangerous, I'm kind of hoping that they raise the safety in it. So why this topic? Of course, it applies directly to me, being a race car driver and racing in these series. I'm looking for my safety to be the priority, absolutely. It's a topic I already know quite a bit about and something that I'd be interested in learning a lot more about. And I feel that it can help the general public, and I'll explain why and kind of why not in a little bit. Here are my goals. I hope to learn some statistics of racing casualties previously and later in time, statistics of the road over time, so that would be just the regular street, some specifics of certain safety innovations, and possibly some previous attempts to take safety things from racing onto the road. Here's something to start out to be kind of interesting. This happened just a couple weeks ago. I don't know how loud this is going to be.
The white flag is out. They're going to cry.
This number 4 truck right here is a really good friend of mine. He was my teammate last year, and this is actually the series that I'm going to be racing in for 5 to 10 races this year.
Big run, they're crashing. Christopher Bell upside down.
So that was actually the most rolls in NASCAR history, which I found kind of entertaining to watch. But he was totally okay. He walked out of it. They checked him out in the infield care center, and he was good to go. So I think that shows how far they've come with their safety. Just 20 or 30 years ago, actually was 15 years ago was the last time that somebody died, and that was here at Daytona. Daytona is the highest death rate track out of anywhere because the speeds are so high, and you can see how close that they race here. It just, sure.
How fast do they go?
The trucks here go about 185 average, and the top series here, which was where the last death was, they go about 200 miles an hour average. All right, so here's some statistics. Deaths from 2001 to 2015, only 1 in NASCAR. And if you go back the year before, back to 2000, there were 3 in NASCAR. So 4 total in 15 years. On the road, there were 38,000 deaths just last year. So that's obviously a staggering number, especially considering the fact that NASCAR goes 2 to 3 times the speed as what you go on the road. And you can see from a crash like you just saw, if someone can walk away from that, I think someone can walk away from most any crash on the road with the proper safety equipment. Here's an article that I read called NASCAR Safety Innovations. The main point really was that racing has already provided the public with a multitude of safety products, and there are still more to come. Seatbelts are one of them. They found out that seatbelts need to give a little, because if they're completely solid, that actually hurts you more, which was something that prior to that on the road, seatbelts they would just make as strong as possible. Full containment seats, that's something that could come in the future, and I'll show you a picture. The seats are actually molded to the driver in a NASCAR, and they completely cover you. You cannot move at all. Tires. In NASCAR, there's what's called an inner liner. So it's really 2 tires, one inside of another. So if the top one pops, you've got an inside one to drive on so that the impact isn't quite as hard when one pops. And something called safer barriers, which I'll show you in a few minutes here. This is what the inside of a NASCAR looks like back when Richard Petty, I don't know if you've heard that name, back when he used to race. Really doesn't look a whole lot different than the street cars did back in that era. Pretty much looks like a leather recliner that you would find in your family room, and just a big steering wheel like you'd have in a regular car, and pretty minimal seat belts, just kind of 4 on any side. Nowadays, they actually limit the speeds of the cars, not with a speed limit, but with rules and specifications for how the car can be built. Because there are certain racing series that go 240 miles an hour. So we know how to build cars that fast. NASCAR purposely doesn't want to go that fast for the safety of the drivers and the fans, actually. There's a lot more safety equipment in NASCAR now than there is in a street car, whereas back then, pretty much the same. And the track takes a lot more precautions, namely safer barriers, which I'm going to show you. Here's a full containment seat right here. You can see it wraps around the driver's core. You've got a shoulder protector, a head protector, a leg protector, all completely carbon fiber. You can see it's got a steering wheel that is built to give in an impact, helmet, and a HANS device right here, which stands for head and neck security system, which I'll show you coming up here. So here's a HANS. This was really the key. When Dale Earnhardt died at Daytona, this is why he died, because he didn't have one of these on. This goes, your neck goes right between those 2 posts there, it clips to your helmet, and the seat belts come right on top of those black bars, and it holds it down. So, in an impact, your head can only move so far. You can't break your neck anymore. And that was really the cause of most deaths back then. Here's a quick video of a safer barrier. SAFER stands for Steel and Foam Energy Reduction Barrier. So this right here is going to be a layer of steel barrier. This is going to be a big, thick piece of foam, and this is going to be the old-style concrete wall that people used to crash into. Instead, they've got all this now to go through first. I'll show it in slow-mo. You can see how much that wall gives, and that reduces a significant amount of impact for the driver. Here's my tentative thesis. Auto racing has become much safer over time with the help of a few key innovations. These safety devices can be implemented in everyday driving to drastically improve the dangers of the road. To add to that, I do think that all of these could improve the safety of the road. Realistically, there's 2 reasons why they're probably not going to. First of all would be cost. You could see that HANS device, completely carbon fiber. Full containment seat, completely carbon fiber. Most people are not going to be investing in that for their everyday street car, and most people think, well, it's not going to happen to me, I'll be alright. Or I'm a good driver, in which case we all know it's not the case, because you could have somebody else who's texting or drunk running into you, whether it was your fault or not. And the other reason is comfort. It, as you can see, is not really the most comfortable option. It's not that comfortable to wear that on your neck. It's safe, so race car drivers do it, but it's not going to be probably easily mass marketable. Here are my sources and my media sources there.